Subscribe to Infidelity Tales Lab. Tyler daily stood in the checkout line at the grocery store, watching the digital numbers climb. His daughter's birthday party supplies filled 3 carts. Decorations, food, drinks, and enough pink balloons to turn their backyard into a cotton candy dreamscape. Emma had been specific about wanting everything pink this year, and Tyler wasn't one to disappoint his 8-year-old daughter. "Daddy, can we get the sparkly streamers too?" Emma tugged on his jacket, her green eyes wide with excitement. "Already got them, kiddo. They're in cart number 2. Emma beamed and skipped ahead, her brown pigtails bouncing. Tyler watched her with the kind of vigilance that never fully switched off, even 4 years after leaving the Special Forces. Old habits died hard, especially when you'd spent a decade in reconnaissance and extraction ops across 3 continents. His eyes still scanned exits, noted faces, cataloged threats that weren't there. His phone buzzed. A text from his wife, "Kristen, my parents want to host a party at their place. Bigger yard. Mom already started baking." Tyler's jaw tightened. Robert and Teresa Larkin had never warmed to him, not in the 6 years since he'd married their daughter. Robert especially. The man looked at Tyler like he was tracking mud through a pristine home. Former real estate developer, current investor in ventures Robert never fully explained. Teresa played the doting grandmother, but there was something rehearsed about her affection, like she was following a script. He texted back, "Emma's excited about our backyard. Let's keep it here." 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Then, too late. They already set everything up. "Please, Tyler." "For Emma." Tyler exhaled slowly. "For Emma." That was the phrase Kristen deployed whenever she wanted him to bend. And he did, every time, because Emma's happiness mattered more than his discomfort with her grandparents. "Fine. What time?" 2 p.m. tomorrow. "You don't have to do anything. Just show up." That was another thing that bothered him. Just show up. Like he was a guest at his own daughter's party. The Larkin estate sprawled across 5 acres in the wealthy outskirts of the city, all manicured hedges and imported stone. Tyler pulled his truck, a modest Ford F-150, into the circular driveway, parking between Mercedes and a Lexus. Emma practically vibrated with excitement in her booster seat. "Grandpa said they have a bounce house. A big one." "That's great, sweetheart." Tyler unbuckled her and grabbed the presents from the truck bed. The party was already in full swing. 20 kids ran screaming through the yard while adults clustered near the patio, drinks in hand. Robert Larkin emerged from the house, all white teeth and expensive cologne. At 63, he maintained the physique of someone who paid for personal training but never broke a real sweat. His handshake was firm to the point of aggression. "Tyler, good of you to make it. Wouldn't miss Emma's birthday." "Of course not." Robert's smile didn't reach his eyes. "Kristen's inside with her mother. Why don't you put those gifts on the table and grab a drink? We've got imported beer, top shelf liquor. None of that cheap stuff you're probably used to." Tyler had learned to let comments like that slide. Men like Robert needed to establish dominance through petty digs. It said more about their insecurities than anything else. He found Kristen in the kitchen, decorating cupcakes with Teresa. His wife looked up, relief flooding her face. "You made it. I was worried you'd be late." Traffic was clear. He kissed her cheek, noting the tension in her shoulders. Kristen had been on edge for weeks, though she insisted everything was fine. "Stress from her job," she'd said. Tyler didn't push, but his instincts whispered that something was off. Teresa Larkin gave him her usual tight-lipped smile. "Tyler, the birthday girl is outside. I'm sure she's looking for you." Dismissed. He nodded and headed back outside. The party continued with the orchestrated chaos of children's birthday celebrations. Emma shrieked with joy in the bounce house. Tyler made small talk with parents he barely knew, most of them Kristen's friends or Robert's business associates. Josh Larkin, Kristen's younger brother, arrived late with a gift wrapped in expensive paper. "Tyler." Josh's greeting was warmer than his father's, at least. At 32, he worked for Robert's investment firm, though Tyler suspected worked was generous. "How's civilian life treating you?" "No complaints." "You?" "Same old. Making money, spending money." Josh glanced toward the house. "Dad's in rare form today. He's got some business associates coming by later. Don't be surprised if things get a little weird. Weird how? Josh shrugged, but something flickered in his expression. Anxiety, maybe guilt. Just, you know how Dad is. Everything's a networking opportunity. Before Tyler could press further, Emma ran up demanding cake. The party shifted into gift opening, singing, and the ritualistic destruction of a pink princess cake. Tyler noticed Robert checking his watch repeatedly, exchanging glances with Teresa. Kristen seemed distracted, her smile forced. As the party wound down and parents collected their sugar-crashed children, Robert announced drinks for the adults. Let's move to the patio. The kids can play while we unwind. Tyler carried Emma's presents inside, stacking them in the living room. When he returned, Robert was pouring drinks, cocktails for the women, beer and whiskey for the men. Tyler accepted a beer, noting the way Robert watched Kristen carry a pink lemonade to Emma. Special lemonade for the birthday girl, Kristen said, handing it to their daughter. Emma took a sip and made a face. It tastes funny, Mommy. It's a new recipe Grandma made. Just try it, sweetheart. Tyler's instincts flared. He moved closer, casual, keeping his body language relaxed. Let me try it, Em. Maybe Grandma went too heavy on the sugar. He took the cup before Kristen could object, sipping carefully. The taste hit immediately. Artificial sweetener, yes, but underneath something else. Something bitter and chemical. His mind cataloged the sensation. Benzodiazepine. Likely Rohypnol or something similar. The taste was masked but not completely hidden. His blood turned to ice, but his expression remained neutral. Years of operating behind enemy lines had taught him to control every micro-expression. You're right, kiddo. Too much sugar. Let Daddy make you a new one. I can do it. Kristen reached for the cup. I got it. Tyler's tone allowed no argument. He walked to the outdoor bar, dumped the drink in a potted plant, and poured fresh lemonade from an unopened container. His mind raced through possibilities, none of them good. Someone had drugged his daughter's drink. He glanced back at the patio. Robert was in conversation with two men Tyler didn't recognize, both younger, 30s maybe, with the hard edges of people comfortable with violence. Not Robert's usual country club associates. Kristen sat rigid in her chair, pale. Teresa fussed with decorations, but her movements were jerky, anxious. Tyler returned with the fresh lemonade. Emma drank happily, oblivious. He settled into a chair, beer in hand, every sense on high alert. He made conversation, laughed at jokes, played the role of the son-in-law Robert expected, present but unimportant. But he watched, and he waited. 40 minutes later, Robert checked his watch again and stood. Emma looks tired. Maybe she should lie down in the guest room. She's fine, Tyler said. She looks exhausted. Teresa's voice had an edge of panic. Emma was, in fact, energetic, showing her new toys to cousins. I'm not tired, Grandpa. Robert's jaw clenched. The two unfamiliar men exchanged looks. One pulled out his phone, stepping away to make a call. Tyler's pulse stayed steady, but his mind shifted into operational mode. Whatever was happening, it was happening now. He stood, stretching casually. Actually, we should probably head out soon. Early morning tomorrow. Nonsense. Robert's tone sharpened. Stay for dinner. Teresa's making Emma's favorite. Thanks, but a van pulled into the driveway. White, windowless, commercial plates. The kind of vehicle that screamed, don't look too closely. Tyler's hand instinctively moved toward his hip, muscle memory reaching for a sidearm that wasn't there. He'd left his concealed carry in the truck, not wanting guns around the kids. Stupid. Complacent. The van side door slid open. Two men emerged, Stanley Barrett and Caesar Thompson, though Tyler didn't know their names yet. What he didn't know was their body language, predatory, confident, on a job. They approached the patio. Robert met them near the steps, voice low. But Tyler heard every word. Where's the girl? Barrett asked. She should be unconscious by now. There was a complication, Robert said. She didn't drink enough. You said this was handled. I don't know what. Thompson scanned the patio, eyes landing on Emma. That her? The brunette. Robert nodded. But she's wide awake. Barrett cursed. We have a schedule, Larkin. Our buyer is waiting. The words hit Tyler like a physical blow. Buyer. They were talking about selling his daughter. His vision narrowed, red creeping at the edges. But he forced himself still, forced his breathing to remain steady. Rushing him would get Emma hurt. He needed to control the situation. Barrett's eyes swept the patio and locked onto Tyler. Recognition flickered, not of Tyler specifically, but of what he was. The way he stood, the stillness that marked him as someone dangerous. Tyler smiled. Not friendly, not warm. The smile he'd worn walking into hostile compounds in Yemen and Afghanistan. He walked to the front door, past Robert, past the traffickers. Then he closed it, locked it, turned. "Gentlemen," Tyler said, voice conversational, "you're not going anywhere, and you'll never forget this night." The patio erupted into chaos. Kristen screamed. Teresa grabbed Emma, pulling her toward the house. Robert stammered something about a misunderstanding. Josh backed away, hands raised. Barrett reached for his waistband. Tyler moved faster, a decade of combat training compressed into 3 seconds. He closed the distance, trapped Barrett's gun hand, and drove his knee into the man's solar plexus. Barrett folded. Thompson lunged. Tyler sidestepped, used Thompson's momentum to throw him into the patio table. Glass shattered. Adults scattered. Children screamed. "Get the kids inside," Tyler commanded, voice cutting through the panic. "Now!" Parents scrambled to obey, herding children toward the back door. Tyler kept himself between them and the traffickers. Barrett was on his knees, gasping. Tyler kicked the gun away, a Glock 19, Standard Street issue, and drove his heel into Barrett's knee. Cartilage crunched. Barrett screamed. Thompson came up with a broken bottle. Tyler caught his wrist, twisted, applied pressure to the nerve cluster. The bottle fell. Tyler drove Thompson's face into the stone patio floor. Once. Twice. Blood spattered. "Tyler, stop." Kristen's voice, hysterical. He didn't stop. He zip-tied both men with restraint from his truck's emergency kit. Always prepared, even at birthday parties. Barrett whimpered. Thompson was unconscious. Tyler turned to Robert. His father-in-law had backed against the house, face ashen. "Start talking," Tyler said. "And if I don't like what I hear, you'll beg me to call the police." Robert's mouth opened and closed. No words came. Tyler crossed the patio in 3 strides, grabbed Robert by his expensive polo shirt, and slammed him against the brick. "My daughter. You tried to drug and sell my daughter. Talk. Now." "It wasn't. I didn't." Robert's composure shattered. "It was business. Just business. Business." Tyler's voice dropped to a whisper. In his experience, whispers scared people more than shouting. "Explain business to me, Robert." Slowly. "The debt. I had debts. Investments that went bad. They said if I didn't pay, they'd kill me. Kill Teresa, kill Kristen. They wanted a child, any child, and I thought. You thought you'd give them my daughter. They said she'd be adopted. A good family in Europe. I didn't know they'd." Tyler's fist drove into Robert's stomach. The older man collapsed, retching. Teresa appeared in the doorway, Emma clinging to her. "Tyler, please." He was desperate. "They threatened us." Tyler looked at his daughter. Emma's eyes were wide, tears streaming down her face. She didn't understand what was happening, but she knew something was terribly wrong. He forced himself to breathe, to think. The immediate threat was contained, but this was bigger than 2 traffickers and a desperate father-in-law. Robert had mentioned debts, threats, organization. "Everyone inside," Tyler ordered. "Now." They filed in, Robert limping, Teresa crying, Kristen white-faced and shaking. Josh stood in the corner, looking like he might vomit. Tyler pulled out his phone and made a call. "Gabriel, it's Tyler. I need you at the Larkin estate. Now, bring the kid." Gabriel Hopkins had served with Tyler in the 75th Ranger Regiment. They'd saved each other's lives more times than either could count. When Tyler left the service, Gabriel went private sector, security consulting, he called it, though the work was often darker than that. "What's the situation?" Gabriel's voice was calm, professional. "Human trafficking. Family involvement. 2 hostiles zip-tied, 1 family member complicit. Unclear how deep this goes." "Police?" "Not yet. I need intel first." 20 minutes. Tyler hung up and turned to his family. Emma had stopped crying, but her small body trembled. He knelt down, ignoring everyone else, and pulled her close. Daddy's got you, sweetheart. You're safe. I promise. I'm scared. I know. But remember what I told you? Daddy was a soldier. I protect people. Especially you. Emma nodded against his chest. Tyler stood, lifting her. Kristen, take Emma to your old room. Stay there. Lock the door. Tyler, we need to talk. Later. He met her eyes. Take her daughter. Lock the door. Don't come out until I get you. Kristen took Emma, her hands shaking. As they disappeared upstairs, Tyler turned to the others. Robert sat on the couch, holding his stomach. Teresa hovered nearby, mascara streaking her face. Josh remained in the corner, pale. Here's what's going to happen, Tyler said. You're going to tell me everything. Who you owe money to. How this started. Who else is involved. Every detail. And if I think you're lying, if I think you're holding back, those two outside. He gestured toward the patio. They're going to be the least of your problems. Robert's hand shook. I'll tell you everything. Just please, don't hurt us. Tyler pulled up a chair, reversed it, and sat. Start from the beginning. And Robert? Don't leave anything out. The story Robert Larkin told was sordid but not unfamiliar. Bad investments, over-leveraged properties, loans from people who didn't accept bankruptcy as an excuse. Robert had built his wealth on credit and charm. But when the real estate market contracted, his house of cards collapsed. I borrowed from Lawrence Gleason, Robert said. He's a businessman. Loans, collections, other ventures. Mob. I don't know. Maybe. He didn't exactly advertise. Tyler kept his voice level. How much? 300,000. Plus interest. It ballooned to $500,000 in a year. And Gleason suggested what? Selling children to clear the debt. Not at first. Robert's voice rose defensively. At first it was just favors. Introductions to people who needed legitimate businesses to move money through. I helped with some real estate transactions. But it wasn't enough. The interest kept climbing. Then Gleason said there was a way to clear everything. One transaction. Emma. Robert couldn't meet his eyes. They said she'd be adopted. A wealthy family in Eastern Europe. They showed me documents, papers. Everything looked legitimate. Legitimate human trafficking. Tyler's laugh was bitter. Did you even question it? What choice did I have? They threatened Teresa, threatened Kristen. If I didn't pay, they'd kill my family. So you decided to sell mine. Silence fell. Teresa sobbed quietly. Josh still hadn't spoken. Tyler turned to his brother-in-law. What's your part in this, Josh? Josh flinched. I didn't know about Emma. I swear. I knew Dad had money problems, knew he was doing business with dangerous people, but I thought he'd figure it out. You knew enough to warn me. At the party, you said things might get weird. I overheard Dad on the phone this morning. Something about a delivery tonight. I didn't know what he meant, but it sounded wrong. I should have done something. Yes, Tyler said. You should have. The doorbell rang. Tyler checked his watch. Gabriel was early. He opened the door to find his former teammate carrying a nondescript black duffel bag. Gabriel Hopkins was built like a linebacker, all muscle and control violence. His eyes swept the room, cataloged everything in seconds. Sit rep. Tyler briefed him quickly. Gabriel's expression didn't change, but his jaw tightened. We need to extract intel from the hostiles. The family's story might be bullshit. Agreed. They're zip-tied on the patio. Anyone see the van arrive? Neighbors are far enough away. We've got privacy. Gabriel nodded. Let's do this properly then. They moved to the patio. Barrett and Thompson were awake, zip ties cutting into their wrists. Gabriel knelt down, all business. I'm going to ask questions. You're going to answer. If you lie, my friend here, he gestured to Tyler, gets creative. And trust me, he's very creative. Understood. Barrett spat blood. Fuck you. Gabriel sighed. Tyler, show them we're serious. Tyler grabbed Thompson's hand, pressed his thumb into the pressure point between thumb and index finger. Thompson screamed. Stop. Christ, stop. Tyler released. Next time I break fingers. Now talk. Who sent you? Gleason. Lawrence Gleason. He runs the network. Network. Trafficking. Kids mostly, sometimes women. He's got buyers all over. Europe, Middle East, Asia. High-end stuff, wealthy clients. Tyler's stomach churned, but his face remained impassive. How did it work? He finds people with debts, access to kids. Offers to clear everything for one transaction. Parents, grandparents, desperate people. He supplies documentation, handles transport. We just do pickups. How many pickups have you done? Thompson glanced at Barrett, who looked away. Maybe 20? 30. Gabriel's fist connected with Thompson's jaw. How many? 47. Thompson sobbed. 47 kids in 3 years. The number hit Tyler like a gut punch. 47 children. Stolen, sold, gone. And he'd almost lost Emma to the same fate. Where's Gleason operating from? I don't know exact locations. He uses different properties. But he's at a warehouse in the industrial district, runs some legitimate importing business as a front. Give me the address. Thompson rattled off a location. Gabriel made notes on his phone. Who else works for him? Dozens of people. I only know a few. Stanley and I are just drivers. Just drivers who kidnapped children. We were desperate too. He had leverage on us, just like the old man. Tyler stood, disgusted. Everyone's desperate. Everyone's got an excuse. He turned to Gabriel. Enough. For now. We need to move fast, though. When these two don't report in, Gleason will know something went wrong. Tyler checked his watch. An hour had passed since he closed the front door. An hour since his world had tilted into nightmare. What's the play? Gabriel asked. Tyler looked at the house, thinking of Emma upstairs, terrified. Thinking of Kristen, who hadn't said much, but whose silence screamed volumes. Thinking of Robert, desperate and stupid, who'd been willing to sacrifice Tyler's child to save himself. We shut Gleason down, Tyler said. Completely. Every piece of his operation. That's a big job. We need support, resources. Probably should loop an FBI. FBI takes time. Investigations, warrants, bureaucracy. Meanwhile, Gleason's network keeps operating. More kids disappear. So what are you proposing? Tyler met his friend's eyes. We handle it ourselves. Tonight. Gabriel was quiet for a moment. Then he nodded. I'm in. But we need a plan. Gleason's not going to be alone at that warehouse. I know. Tyler's mind was already working through scenarios, tactics, contingencies. This was what he'd been trained for. Asymmetric warfare, small team operations against larger forces. We need intel, weapons. And we need to move before Gleason realizes these two are compromised. I've got weapons in the truck. Intel's going to be harder. Tyler turned back to Thompson. Tell me about the warehouse. Layout, security, how many people Gleason keeps there. Thompson's resistance had crumbled. He talked, describing a 2-story warehouse with offices on the second floor, usually 4 to 6 men on site, cameras covering entrances, but blind spots in the loading area. There's a shipment tomorrow night, Thompson added. He'll have extra security, but the holding area will have what? Kids. Maybe a dozen. Waiting for transport. Tyler's resolve hardened into something cold and absolute. 12 children, imprisoned, waiting to be sold. The operation had to happen tonight. Before the shipment. Before more lives were destroyed. We go in quiet, Tyler said. Extract the kids first, then handle Gleason and anyone else involved. Extraction vehicle? I've got a box truck we can use. Clean plates. Gabriel nodded slowly. This is going to get messy. You understand that. I understand that 47 kids are gone because men like Gleason operate without consequences. I understand my daughter was almost number 48. Yeah, Gabriel. I understand exactly how messy this needs to get. They spent the next 30 minutes planning. Gabriel made calls to contacts who could provide equipment. Tyler sketched the warehouse layout based on Thompson's description, marking entry points and target zones. Robert watched from inside, fear and guilt warring on his face. What are you going to do to me? Tyler barely glanced at him. That depends. Did you know there were other kids? Did you know what you were really part of? I suspected, but I didn't want to know. I just wanted to save my family. By destroying mine. Tyler stood. You're going to stay in this house. You're going to keep your mouth shut. And when this is over, you're going to help me make sure every person involved in Gleason's network faces justice. Understand? I'll do anything. Anything to make this right. You can't make this right, Robert. but you can help me make sure it doesn't happen to anyone else. Tyler went upstairs to check on Emma. She'd fallen asleep in Kristen's arms, exhausted from fear and confusion. Kristen looked up, her eyes red. "Is it over?" she whispered. "Not yet, but it will be soon." "I didn't know, Tyler. I swear I didn't know what my father planned." He studied his wife's face, the woman he'd loved for 6 years, the mother of his child. "Didn't you? You've been anxious for weeks. On edge. You knew something was wrong. I knew Dad had money problems. I knew he was scared. But this..." Tears spilled down her cheeks. "I never imagined this." Tyler wanted to believe her. Herm did. But part of him, the part trained to spot deception, to read micro-expressions and body language, saw the truth. She'd known something. Maybe not the full extent, but enough to question, to probe, to protect Emma. And she hadn't. "We'll talk after," he said. "Take care of our daughter. Don't leave this room." He kissed Emma's forehead and left before Kristen could respond. Downstairs, Gabriel had returned with equipment. Tactical vests, communications gear, suppressed pistols, and a device Tyler recognized as a cellular jammer. "Like old times," Gabriel said. "Yeah." Tyler checked his Glock, his personal weapon, better maintained than anything Gabriel had brought. "Let's hope we're still as good." They loaded the van with the unconscious traffickers and drove them to a secure location, a storage unit Gabriel maintained for situations that required discretion. They'd deal with Barrett and Thompson later. By 10 p.m., Tyler and Gabriel were parked 3 blocks from Gleason's warehouse. The industrial district was quiet, abandoned factories and shipping containers creating a maze of shadows. 2 guards visible on the north entrance, Gabriel reported, watching through binoculars. Cameras on the main gate and loading dock. No movement inside. Hard to tell. Windows are covered. Tyler studied the building. 2 stories, metal construction, single obvious entry point. Not ideal, but workable. "We cut power first," he said. "Create chaos. Move during the confusion. You take the guards, I'll breach and clear. Kids are priority. Always." They moved through the shadows, decades of training making them almost invisible. Gabriel circled to the transformer box while Tyler approached the loading dock's blind spot. The cellular jammer killed communications. The power cut followed 30 seconds later. Shouts erupted from inside. Guards rushed toward the transformer. Gabriel dropped them both with suppressed shots to the chest, center mass, professional clean. Tyler was already moving. He pried open the loading dock door, slipped inside. Emergency lights cast everything in red. He moved room to room, clearing corners, checking angles. Footsteps on the stairs. Tyler pressed against the wall as a man descended, flashlights sweeping. Tyler waited until the man passed, then struck, arm around the throat, pressure on the carotid, unconscious in seconds. Voices above. Tyler climbed the stairs, found an office. 3 men inside, arguing about the power. He moved fast, suppressed shots, controlled pairs, all 3 down before they could draw weapons. The rest of the building was storage and offices. Empty. But there, a locked door at the far end. Heavy duty, reinforced. Tyler heard it immediately, crying. Soft, desperate, children trying to stay quiet. He shot the lock, kicked the door open. 12 kids, ages maybe 6 to 14, huddled in a concrete room with nothing but mattresses and a bucket. They stared at him, this stranger in tactical gear, gun in hand. Tyler holstered his weapon, raised his hands. "I'm not going to hurt you. I'm here to take you home." A girl, maybe 10, stepped forward. "Who are you?" "Someone's dad. And I'm getting all of you out of here." The extraction took 20 minutes. Tyler and Gabriel loaded the children into the box truck, gave them water and blankets, told them police were coming. The oldest kid, a boy named Marcus, helped keep the younger ones calm. "What about the bad men?" Marcus asked. "They can't hurt you anymore," Tyler said. "You killed them." Tyler met the boy's eyes. "Some of them. The ones who wouldn't let you go." Marcus nodded slowly. "Good." Gabriel drove the children to a hospital 3 miles away, pulled up to the emergency entrance, and called 911 from a burner phone. By the time security arrived, he was gone. Tyler stayed at the warehouse, waiting. Lawrence Gleason arrived at midnight, flanked by 2 bodyguards. He was in his 50s, expensive suit, the kind of predator who looked respectable. He walked into his dark warehouse, cursing about the power. Tyler was waiting in his office. "Hello, Lawrence." Gleason spun, his bodyguards reaching for weapons. Tyler already had them covered. "Don't," he said. "Your men are dead. Your operation's done. The kids are safe. You're finished." Gleason's face went through several expressions: confusion, anger, fear, before settling on forced calm. "Who the hell are you?" "Tyler Daly. You tried to buy my daughter tonight." Recognition flickered. "Larkin's son-in-law. Robert said you were military, but I didn't think. You didn't think I'd come for you. Mistake. Look, we can work this out. You want money? I've got money. You want information? I can give you names, bigger fish than me. I don't want your money. I don't need information. I want you to disappear." Gleason laughed, nervous. "You can't just kill me. You're not that stupid. I've got connections, backups, people who'll come looking. I'm not going to kill you, Lawrence." Relief flooded Gleason's face. "I'm going to make you wish I had." Tyler spent the next hour documenting everything in Gleason's office: files, hard drives, client lists, financial records. 47 children, Thompson had said. The file showed 73 over 5 years. Hundreds of thousands of dollars in transactions. Names of buyers across continents. He copied everything, sent it to 3 separate secure locations, including Gabriel's encrypted server. Then he called a number he'd sworn never to use again. A federal agent he'd worked with in Afghanistan, someone who owed him favors that could never be fully repaid. "Agent Marvin Klein, FBI. Who's this?" "Tyler Daly." A pause. "Jesus, Tyler. Didn't think I'd hear from you again. I need a favor. A big one. And you need a career-making case." He explained in broad terms: trafficking ring, dozens of victims, evidence waiting. He gave Klein the warehouse address, but didn't mention his own involvement. "How do you know about this?" Klein asked. "Does it matter? The kids are at Memorial Hospital. The evidence is in an office on the 2nd floor. The man who ran it all is there too. Alive. For now. That's up to you." Tyler hung up and turned to Gleason, who was zip-tied to his own chair. "Here's what happens next," Tyler said. "The FBI is coming. You're going to tell them everything. Every name, every transaction, every buyer. You're going to cooperate fully. And if I don't," Tyler leaned close, "then the files I copied get sent to your buyers. The people who purchased children from you. And I'll let them know you kept records with their names, addresses, preferences. How long do you think you'll live in prison when they find out you documented everything?" Gleason's face went white. "You wouldn't. Try me. You've got one chance to make this right. One chance to help bring down everyone in your network. Take it, or I'll make sure every monster you sold children to knows you betrayed them." Tyler left before Gleason could respond. Sirens wailed in the distance. He returned to the Larkin estate at 3 a.m. The house was quiet. He found Robert and Teresa in the living room, Josh asleep in a chair. They looked up when he entered. Fear and hope mixed on their faces. "It's done," Tyler said. "Gleason's in custody. The kids are safe. His entire network is coming down. And us?" Robert asked quietly. Tyler sat, suddenly exhausted. "You're going to cooperate with the FBI. You're going to testify against Gleason and anyone else involved. You're going to help find every person who participated in this nightmare. They'll send me to prison. Yes, they will. And you'll deserve it." Teresa sobbed. "We were desperate. We didn't know what else to do. You had choices. You chose wrong. And my daughter almost paid for it." He stood, done with them. "Gabriel will contact you about the FBI interview. If you try to run, if you try to warn anyone, I'll find you. And what happened at that warehouse will seem merciful compared to what I'll do." He climbed the stairs to Kristen's old room. She was awake, sitting beside the bed where Emma slept. "Is it over?" she whispered. "The immediate threat, yes. The rest." He shook his head. "We need to talk, Kristen, about your father, about what you knew, about all of it. But not tonight. I didn't know, Tyler. I swear, you knew enough to be scared, enough to be anxious. You knew your father was in trouble with dangerous people, and you didn't tell me. I didn't think he'd what? Be willing to sell Emma? He's your father. You know him better than I do. Did you really not see this coming?" Kristen's silence was answer enough. Tyler looked at his daughter, peaceful in sleep, unaware how close she'd come to being stolen forever. "We'll figure this out," he said. "But right now, I need you to pack a bag. We're leaving. Tonight. I'm taking Emma somewhere safe while this all plays out." "Where?" "Somewhere her grandfather can't find her. Somewhere no one involved in this can reach her." "You don't trust me." Tyler met his wife's eyes. "Right now, I don't trust anyone." 3 days later, Tyler sat in a safe house 200 miles away, watching Emma color at the kitchen table. She'd asked about her grandparents, about why they'd left so suddenly, but she was young enough to accept simple explanations. They were on an adventure, Daddy had said. A surprise trip, just the two of them. Gabriel had stayed behind to coordinate with Agent Klein. The FBI raid on Gleason's network was expanding. 14 arrests so far, with more coming. Robert had been taken into custody, cooperating fully to avoid a longer sentence. Teresa faced charges too. Josh's involvement was minimal enough that he might escape prosecution, but his life was destroyed anyway. Kristen called daily. Tyler answered, keeping conversations short, focused on logistics. She was staying with friends, cooperating with investigators, trying to understand how her family had become this. "When can I see Emma?" she asked on the 4th day. "Soon." "Not yet." "Tyler, I didn't know." "You have to believe me." "I want to. But believing and knowing are different things." "What does that mean for us?" Tyler watched Emma through the window, laughing as she chased butterflies. "I don't know yet. First, we make sure everyone involved pays. Then we figure out what's left." Agent Klein called that afternoon with updates. "We've recovered evidence of 92 children trafficked over 7 years. 15 arrests domestically, working with Interpol on international warrants. This is the biggest trafficking bust in the region's history. The kids, 23 have been recovered alive so far, including the 12U. Someone left at the hospital. Family Services is working on reunification. The others, silence. Then, we're still looking. Some trails are cold. Some. Klein didn't finish. Tyler closed his eyes. 92 children. 23 recovered. The math was devastating. "You did good work here, Tyler. Anonymous tip or not, you saved lives." "Not enough. Never is. But it matters. The families of those 23 kids, it matters to them." Tyler hung up and sat on the porch. Emma joined him, climbing into his lap. "Daddy, when are we going home?" "Soon, sweetheart. I miss Mommy." "I know. She misses you too. Do Grandma and Grandpa miss me?" Tyler thought about Robert, sitting in a cell, facing decades in prison. About Teresa, who'd chosen silence over protecting her granddaughter. About the choice they'd made and the consequences unfolding. "I think they do," he said carefully. "But sometimes people make mistakes. Big ones. And they have to accept punishment for those mistakes. Like when I'm bad and get time out. Something like that. But bigger." Emma nodded, satisfied with the explanation. She went back to playing, resilient in the way children are, already integrating the trauma into her developing worldview. Tyler's phone buzzed. "Gabriel, got something you need to see." The FBI found Gleason's insurance policy, hidden files, recordings. "Your father-in-law is in deeper than we thought." "How deep?" "He wasn't just settling debt. He was recruiting, bringing in other desperate parents, getting a cut of their transactions. At least 5 other families. He's been doing this for 18 months. The revelation hit hard. Robert wasn't just a desperate man making a terrible choice. He was an active participant, a recruiter, complicit in multiple kidnappings. "Does Kristen know?" "FBI will tell her soon." "Thought you'd want a heads up." Tyler thanked him and hung up. He'd been willing to believe Robert's desperation, to see him as a weak man in an impossible situation. But this changed things. This made Robert not a victim of circumstances, but an architect of atrocity. He called Kristen. "Tyler." Hope and fear mingled in her voice. "The FBI is going to contact you. Your father wasn't just paying off debt. He was recruiting other families, taking cuts from their transactions. At least 5 other kids were taken because of him." Silence. Then crying. "I didn't know." "God, Tyler, I didn't know." "I believe you. But your father is going to prison for a long time. Life, probably. And you need to decide where you stand. With him, or with the truth? I stand with the truth. I stand with you and Emma. Then prove it. When the FBI asks, you tell them everything. Every conversation you remember, every hint you ignored, everything. No protecting him. No family loyalty. The truth. I will. I promise. And Kristen, we're not done. When this is over, you and I have a lot to work through. I'm not sure we survive this. I know, but I want to try. For Emma. We'll see. He hung up and sat in the gathering darkness, thinking about justice and revenge, about the thin line between them. He destroyed Gleason's network, saved 23 children, brought down a trafficking ring that had operated for years. But 92 children had been taken. 23 recovered. The math haunted him. Gabriel called again the next morning. Thought you should know, Gleason tried to kill himself last night. Razor blade. Guard stopped him. Too easy, Tyler said. Yeah, he's on suicide watch now. Won't get the chance again. Good. He gets to live with what he did. Every day. For decades. The buyers are panicking. For half fled the country. 2 are in custody. It's a domino effect. 1 arrest leading to evidence for 3 more. This is going to take down a lot of people. Not enough. Will never be enough. I know, brother. But it's something. Tyler thought about the night at the warehouse, about the choice he'd made to let Gleason live. Part of him had wanted to end it there, quick, final, the kind of justice that didn't rely on courts and lawyers. But he'd chosen differently. Chosen to make Gleason face consequences, to use him to bring down everyone in the network. Gabriel, thank you. For helping. For being there. Always, man. You'd do the same for me. Yeah, I would. 2 weeks later, Tyler brought Emma home. The house felt different. Emptier, sadder, like the walls themselves remembered what had almost happened. Kristen was waiting, nervous and hopeful. Emma ran to her mother, all earlier fear forgotten in the joy of reunion. Kristen held her tight, tears streaming. Tyler watched from the doorway. He saw the love, saw the guilt, saw the woman he'd married trying to hold together a family that had nearly been destroyed. That night, after Emma was asleep, they talked. Really talked. Kristen confessed to the anxiety she'd ignored, the questions she hadn't asked, the warning signs she'd rationalized away, because facing the truth would have meant confronting her father. I failed her, Kristen said. I failed both of you. Yes, Tyler said. You did. Can you forgive me? Tyler thought about forgiveness, about trust, about whether marriage could survive one partner's betrayal, even if unintentional, even if born from fear. I don't know yet, he said honestly. Part of me wants to. Part of me can't get past the fact that you knew something was wrong and stayed silent. That your silence almost cost Emma everything. I'll do whatever it takes. Therapy, counseling, anything. I'll prove to you that I can be better. Maybe. We'll see. But right now, I need space. Time to process this. Are you leaving? No. I'm staying. For Emma. She needs both of us. But you and me? He shook his head. That's going to take time. They slept in separate rooms that night, and the night after, and the ones that followed. Tyler threw himself into helping the FBI, providing testimony, identifying gaps in Gleason's records. He worked with victims' families, offering support from someone who understood the nightmare they'd endured. Agent Klein kept him updated. More arrests, 37 and counting. More children recovered, 29 now. The network was collapsing, each arrest leading to more evidence, more names, more justice. Robert was transferred to a federal penitentiary. Life sentence, no possibility of parole. Teresa got 15 years for complicity. Josh walked free, but would live forever with the knowledge of his family's crimes. And Tyler lived with the knowledge that he'd save his daughter, but couldn't save all of them. 92 children, 29 recovered. The math still haunted him. 6 months later, Tyler sat in a courtroom as Lawrence Gleason was sentenced. Life without parole, consecutive sentences for each count. Gleason looked diminished, broken, a shell of the confident predator who'd run a trafficking empire. Do you have anything to say? The judge asked. Gleason stood, trembling. I'm sorry. To the families, to the children, to everyone I hurt. I'm sorry. The judge's expression hardened. Your apology is worthless, Mr. Gleason. You destroyed lives for profit. You stole children from their families. You deserve every day of the sentence you're receiving. Tyler watched Gleason led away in chains. No satisfaction, no closure, just the cold knowledge that one monster was caged while others remained free. Outside the courthouse, families of recovered children thanked him. Tyler accepted their gratitude, but felt no pride. He'd protected his own daughter. The others were saved by luck, by timing, by the fact that he'd had the skills and resources to act. Emma was in therapy, processing the trauma of that night. She had nightmares sometimes, woke up crying, asked questions Tyler struggled to answer. But she was resilient, healing, moving forward. Kristen was in therapy too, working through guilt and complicity, try to rebuild trust that might never fully return. Tyler watched her try, appreciated the effort, but couldn't bring himself to fully forgive. Not yet. Maybe not ever. They existed in a strange limbo, married but separate, co-parenting but distant, a family in name but not in wholeness. One evening, Emma asked about her grandparents. Why did Grandpa do those bad things? Tyler chose his words carefully. Sometimes people make terrible choices when they're scared. That doesn't excuse what they did, but it explains it. Will he say sorry? Maybe, but sorry doesn't fix everything. Some things you can't take back. Do you forgive him? Tyler thought about Robert in prison, about the choice that almost cost Emma everything. No, sweetheart, I don't. Is it okay to not forgive someone? Sometimes. Forgiveness is a gift. You only give it if someone truly earns it. Emma nodded, processing this. I don't forgive him either. That's okay. You don't have to. A year after that night, Tyler stood in his backyard, watching Emma play with friends. She'd grown taller, more confident, the trauma receding into memory rather than present reality. She laughed freely, trusted easily, hadn't lost the innocence that the night had threatened to steal. Gabriel visited, bringing beer and stories from his private security work. They sat on the porch as sunset painted the sky orange and red. You ever think about that night? Gabriel asked. Every day. Regrets. Tyler considered. Did he regret the violence? The choices? The line he'd crossed between justice and vengeance? No, he said finally. I'd do it all again. Exactly the same way. Even knowing how it turned out with Kristen? Even then, Emma's safe. That's what matters. Gabriel nodded. You're a good father, Tyler. A good man. I'm a man who did what he had to do. Sometimes that's the same thing. They drank in comfortable silence. Two soldiers who'd seen too much but endured anyway, carrying their scars like armor. Inside, Emma called for dinner. Tyler stood, clapped Gabriel on the shoulder, and went to his daughter. Kristen had cooked a family dinner, an attempt at normalcy. They ate together, made small talk, pretended they were a normal family in a normal house with normal problems. After Emma went to bed, Kristen stopped Tyler in the hallway. I'm filing for divorce, she said quietly. Tyler absorbed this. Part of him was relieved. Part of him mourned. Okay, I'll fight for joint custody. I'm Emma's mother. I love her. I know, and I won't fight that. You're a good mother, Kristen. You made a mistake. A huge one, but you're still her mother. Thank you. Tears gathered in her eyes. And Tyler, I know you'll never fully forgive me. I don't expect you to, but I need you to know I would never hurt Emma. Never. That night, it's destroyed me. Knowing I almost lost her because I was too scared to see the truth. I know. Will you ever trust me again? Tyler thought about trust, about how it was earned slowly and destroyed instantly. With Emma? Eventually. Maybe. With my heart. He shook his head. That's gone. You had it. And you threw it away when you chose silence over protection. I understand. She wiped her eyes. I'll move out next week. We can work out the custody arrangement through lawyers. Fine. She started to leave, then turned back. Your daughter is lucky to have you. I was lucky to have you. I'm sorry I didn't realize it until it was too late. Tyler said nothing. There was nothing to say. 5 years later, Tyler watched Emma blow out candles at her 13th birthday party. His backyard, his house, his party. Kristen was there too. They'd managed to build a functional co-parenting relationship, civil if not warm. Emma had grown into a strong, smart young woman. She knew the truth of what had almost happened, knew her grandfather was in prison for terrible crimes, knew her father had saved her. She carried it with grace that astonished Tyler. "Best birthday ever, Dad," she said, hugging him tight. "Glad you liked it, kiddo. No weird drinks this time?" She grinned. Tyler's heart clenched. She could joke about it now, had processed the trauma into something she controlled rather than something that controlled her. Just lemonade. The good kind. Good. Because if anyone tries to drum my drink again, I'll kick their ass. You taught me how. Language. Sorry. I'll kick their butt. Tyler laughed. That's my girl. Later, after guests had left and Emma was inside with friends, Gabriel approached with a serious expression. "Got news. Gleason died in prison last week. Heart attack." Tyler absorbed this. "Good. Robert's up for parole review next year. Won't get it, but he's trying. Let him try. He'll die in there too. You okay with that?" Tyler looked at his daughter through the window, surrounded by friends, safe and happy and whole. "Yeah, I'm okay with that." The trafficking network Gleason had run was dismantled. 47 children recovered in the end. Not all 92, but enough to matter. Families reunited. Lives rebuilt. Justice, imperfect but real. And Tyler had protected what mattered most. His daughter. His family. His responsibility. "You ever think about that night?" Gabriel asked, echoing a question from years ago. "Every day," Tyler said. "But differently now. I used to think about what could have gone wrong. Now I think about what went right. Emma's alive. Gleason's dead. Traffickers in prison. I'd say a lot went right." Tyler nodded. "Yeah, it did." He'd closed the door that night, locked it, and changed everything. He'd chosen to act, to fight, to cross lines that couldn't be uncrossed. He'd made choices that would haunt him forever. But Emma was safe. And in the end, that was the only thing that mattered. He watched her through the window, laughing with friends, making memories in a life she'd almost lost. She caught his eye and waved. He waved back, smiling. A father's greatest duty was protecting his child. Tyler had fulfilled that duty when it mattered most. The cost was high. His marriage, his innocence, his faith in family. But the price of failure would have been infinitely higher. So he lived with the choices he'd made, the violence he'd committed, the justice he'd delivered. He carried them like he'd carried his daughter to safety that night, with absolute certainty that it was right, necessary, and worth any consequence. Because she was worth it. Emma was worth everything. And Tyler would do it all again, without hesitation, without regret, if it meant keeping her safe. That was what being a father meant. That was what love meant. And that was enough. And there you have it. Another story comes to an end. What did you think? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy this story, consider joining our community by subscribing. It means the world to us. For more stories like this one, check out the recommended videos on screen. And I'll see you there.